Hello and welcome everyone to our first official challenge on my channel. Our challenge today will be, can you beat Pokemon Emerald without catching a single Pokemon? Now the rule for our challenge is quite simple. 1. No catching wild Pokemon. Pretty straight to the point. I'll be focusing on main battles with Team Aqua and Magma, as well as gym battles, rival battles, and the Pokemon League of course. Without further ado, let's begin. I choose Mudkip as my starter because for this challenge, Mudkip is the only water type I can receive in this entire playthrough. And let's be real here for just one moment. I mean, you're not really going anywhere unless you have a water type or someone who can learn Surf, especially in the Hoenn region. At this moment, Mudkip's our only option. We take out the wild Zigzagoon and begin our Pokemon journey. I nicknamed the Mudkip Blub because my girlfriend said it's cute, so we're gonna roll with it. Next up was Rival Battle number 1. Our battle was indeed legendary, but mostly uneventful. We just sent tackles and pounds each other's way until the better Pokemon came out on top, which is obviously us. At the end of the battle, Blub gained 69 XP, nice, and we learned Mud Slap. Trust me, this move will come in handy later. We received a few Pokeballs from May, but in other words, free money, as we're not allowed to catch anything. Later down Route 102, we ran into our first official problem on our run. I'm not planning on backing down from a challenge, so I went with it. Last Tiana put up quite a fight with her two Pokemon. Zigzagoon wasn't an issue, nothing a few tackles couldn't fix. However, using Growl on me twice put me at a huge disadvantage for the next Pokemon. Little did I remember that Shroomish is a tad scary early on. I had to deal with the Absorb being super effective on me, and I had to heal up to prevent losing the battle. Just when I thought I was getting so close to beating Tiana's Shroomish, Effect Spore kicked in, and I was put to sleep. After Blub went through the Nightmare Realm and back, Blub eventually woke up and found the courage to defeat the Shroomish. That was certainly interesting, and a lot more difficult than most battles I was in. Trust me, you'll see. In Petalburg Woods, we fought our first Grunt of the playthrough. Good old Grunt and his Poochyena. The Poochyena was level 9, which was possibly the most scariest part about this battle. But a simple tackle and water gun sealed the deal here, and I'm a hero now. Next up was our first gym battle with Roxanne. Seeing as Blub is my only Pokemon, and seeing as Blub is also a water Pokemon, it's easy to see how this battle is going to end up. Both of Roxanne's Geodudes fell to a single water gun, and now was Roxanne's Nose Pass. Her Nose Pass absorbed the hell out of the first water gun I threw its way. I was aware Roxanne had a potion stored in her pocket, as well as an Oran Berry equipped on her Nose Pass, so I had to take the Oran Berry out first. I then continued to Mud Slap the Nose Pass to the point it couldn't even hit me with any moves. Roxanne ended up using her potion anyways. I then spammed a couple of water guns her way. Little did I know she had a second potion stored in her pocket. That's always great. After stalling some time, Nose Pass went down and the stone badge was mine. It wasn't over though. Blub was evolving. Little did I also know, this would end up being a minor mistake for me just a little bit later on. Next up was the Grunt that kidnapped Pico. Yeah, I don't know what to tell you. One water gun and that was it. It's like watching a 2-minute squash match in WWE with those jobbers. Rival battle number 2 was on its way, and I had to say this was possibly the scariest battle of the run this early on, but also the luckiest. Remember when I said that Mudkip evolving into Marshtomp was a minor problem? Well, I noticed that her Trico had access to Absorb, and I am 4 times weak to Grass, so I devised a new strategy. I call it John Cena, because I'm slapping mud in Trico's face so he can't see me. And would you look at that? 3 misses in a row. I then finished off Trico with a couple of tackles, and that was rival battle number 2. I made sure to grab the experience share before continuing my journey and taking on the Dewford Gym. The Dewford Gym was up next, and Brawly was ready for a fight. First up was his Machop, which proved to be a small issue. I hit Machop with 2 water guns, and he just barely survived. Brawly used up his Super Potion, and I was on the offense with more water guns. Once again, Machop barely survived, and managed to get me down to 17 HP. Blub then took out Machop, and it was time for Meditite. Luckily for me, this put me in Torrent range, so water gun would be a little bit more effective. Brawly's Meditite just spammed Focus Punch, and it was entirely useless, so it was a free KO for us. Lastly was Brawly's ace, the Makuhita. I healed up with a Super Potion because I was unsure if Makuhita's Vital Throw would KO Blub. Result? It probably would have, because the RNG gods are definitely not on my side and they want me to lose. Makuita then healed up with the citrus berry after bringing me down to 24 HP. I used water gun once more and prayed for a min roll from Makuita. I got smacked with one more vital throw and wow, 2 HP left. I was definitely crapping bricks from this. I smacked Makuita with one more water gun and the torrent boost was enough to knock out his final Pokemon and earn me the Knuckle Badge. It was then time to save the captain from Team Aqua. Once again, the Grunts stood no chance versus me and I ended up stomping them out. Archie expressed that he wasn't pleased with my actions, but here's a question for him. When did I ask? We also met Scott. He's cool. He wears sunglasses. It was then time for everyone's favorite rival battle number 3. We started off strong as May's first Pokemon, Wingull, fell to 2 quick and easy tackles. Next up was her Grovyle. I hit Grovyle with pretty good damage from tackle after taking some nasty damage from Absorb. I figured I would live a second Absorb, so I put my You Can't See Me cap on and tried a quick John Cena maneuver again. I lived with 6 HP and then healed up Blub. And would you look at that? Another miss from Grovyle. I couldn't believe the John Cena strategy was actually working. I took some more damage from Absorb and I hit Grovyle with another Mud Slap. I then went for a tackle and to my surprise, the big old crit came in clutch. Last was May's Slugma. Her Slugma can slug my balls because it took 1 torrent boosted water gun to take it out, and that was rival battle number 3. Before taking on the Mauville City Gym, I decided to quickly ruin Wally's hopes and dreams in front of his uncle. It took just a single water gun to humble him. Don't know why he's acting shocked he lost. On to the Mauville City Gym battle versus my main man Watson. He led with Voltorb and hit me for a whole single point of damage with Rollout. I hit him with a Mud Slap and brought Voltorb down to red HP. Voltorb then continued the onslaught with Rollout for a whole 2 damage and was then taken out by Water Gun. Next was Electrike. I somehow outsped it and hit it with Mud Slap, bringing it down to just 1 HP. Electrike then used Howl. Watson healed up with a Super Potion as I used Water Gun. Electrike went for a quick attack just before being taken out by Blub. Next was Magneton. I hit it with a 4 times super effective Mud Slap and brought it down to a fair range to KO. It missed Supersonic and I was super relieved because Confusion is hella annoying. One more Mud Slap took Magneton out and it was time for Watson's ace, main neck trick. It went for quick attack and I went for Mud Slap. It brought it just below half. Same turn came around, another quick attack and another Mud Slap from me. The Citrus Berry then healed main neck trick. I went for a tackle because I ran out of PP for Mud Slap and it hit me with another quick attack. I didn't want to put main neck trick in a position for Watson to heal it again. I then went for another water gun and it just barely lived. Watson healed up unfortunately. I kept spamming water guns as main neck trick spammed quick attacks. Eventually, I lived with 11 HP and the Dynamo badge was finally mine. I made our happy little couple rekindle and decided to teach the newly received strength to Blub. Definitely beats tackle. We then made our way to Mount Chimney to confront Team Magma, and right before taking on Maxie, my one and only Blub finally evolved into Swampert, the absolute unit. It was time to take on Maxie and foil Team Magma's plan. You might think the Maxie battle will be difficult because I only have 1 Pokemon, but that won't stop me. Plus, I think Blub is slightly overleveled. Right off the bat was Mightyena, with an Intimidate to start the battle off. Blub is my only Pokemon, so I can't switch out to fix the attack drop. I used the Water Gun, and it dropped him below half, before he dropped my accuracy with Sand Attack. A second Water Gun takes down the Mightyena. Then was Maxie's Zubat. A Water Gun dropped Zubat to red HP, and then Maxie healed Zubat up. Another Water Gun, and Zubat is at 1 HP, before the lovely Confusion hits. Maxie stocked up on potions just like me, so he healed once more. Blub, being built different, broke out of Confusion and took out the Zubat. Last was Maxie's Camerupt. It'll end the way you think. A critical hit Water Gun takes out the Camerupt. Not that the crit really mattered at all. And that was the Maxie fight on Mount Chimney. After a long journey of having just 1 Pokemon by my side, it was then time to add a new member to the team. I received an egg from the lovely Nonna in Lava Ridge Town. I walked back and forth for minutes until a beautiful Wynot joined the team. I nicknamed it Baby Boo because this is what my girlfriend and I call each other. And you'll see that Baby Boo comes in handy a little later down the line. Next up was Flannery's Gym. To be honest, it really wasn't that eventful. I had an entirely useless Pokemon in Baby Boo at the moment, so Blub was my go-to. I used Water Gun to take out her Numel, and I'm not surprised to see it get O-Code. Next up was her Slugma. Like May's Slugma, her Slugma can Slugma balls, because it took one Water Gun to finish Slugma off. Next was Camerupt. Like the other two, one Water Gun, and that was that. Last up was Flannery's ace, the Torkoal. Torkoal put up a fight, even attracting Blub. But Blub isn't about to simp during a Pokemon battle. No way, Jose. And took out Flannery's Torkoal, and that was an easy heat badge for me. However, it wasn't over yet. Baby Boo, at level 15, already evolved into Wobbuffet. Now it's time to have some fun. Afterwards, we made our way to the Mirage Tower to grab us a fossil. I chose the Claw fossil, as Anorith will prove to be a more reliable Pokemon with access to certain HMs. I made my way back to Rustboro City to revive the Anorith. The chat decided we would name the third member of our party Dante, for no particular reason, other than Dante being a really cool name. Welcome to the team. Next up was our 5th gym battle versus Papa Norman. With Dante and Baby Boo on our team, it's a little more even number-wise, but they are still underleveled. Norman started off with Spinda, and I led with Blub. I started with a Rock Smash and got danced on by Teeter Dance. Blub resisted smacking himself in the face and took out Spinda. Blub then learned Muddy Water, aka Diarrhea Water, and this move packs a punch. Next up was Vigoroth. Vigoroth managed to get in quite a bit of damage on Blub, but that was okay. A Rock Smash defense drop and a Strength took out Vigoroth. Then, in came Linoone. Instead of belly drumming, Linoone went for a Facade, dropping me just a little over Torrent range. 2 strengths later, and Linoone was defeated. I wanted to have a little bit of fun this battle, so then came the ace, Slacking. I went for Strength to get a bit of damage in, and then Slacking hit Blub with a counter, taking him out. I then sent in Baby Boo, and this is where things got interesting. Slacking was fighting all the urges to swing at Baby Boo with a physical move, so he stalled with yawns and counters, but my safeguard was up, so no falling asleep on my watch. Eventually, Norman grew a pair and attacked Baby Boo with Facade. Luckily, I used counter that turn and took out the Slacking with Baby Boo. And just like that, the balance badge and my dad's respect were finally mine. If only. We then made our way to the Weather Institute to confront Team Aqua and once again foil their plans. The battle was very uneventful. Carvanha and Mightyena got squashed, and that took care of the issue there. More importantly, we got our 4th and final Pokemon of the run, Castform. We decided to name Castform VIP because this little guy is pretty versatile with the moves it learns. So it'll be very useful. Hopefully. Rival battle number 4 was up, and it looked to be quite easy. It was raining, so Blub already had an advantage. First was May's Slugma. You know the drill by now. Her Slugma can Slugma balls. 1 Mud Slap, and goodbye Slugma. Next was Grovyle. I wanted to have some fun, so I sent in Baby Boo to handle this. I went for Mirror Coat, as Grovyle went for a Leaf Blade. Easy kill with Baby Boo. Then came May's Lombre. I was being silly with Baby Boo and trying to cheese this battle, but Lombre kept differentiating between Swift and Absorb. Eventually, 3 counters in a row took out Lombre, and that was rival battle number 4. I then received Fly, the most useful HM ever. I could definitely use this. After messing around and handling a little Kecleon problem, it was time for gym battle number 6, Winona. Winona led with her Swablu, as I led with Blub. 1 strength was enough to OHKO her Swablu, so far so good. Then came in Tropius. I went for a strength, seeing as I am quite a few levels over her, and Tropius went for charging Solar Beam? Okay. Seeing as strength did half her HP, I needed to max roll the hit, and truth be told, I did. Tropius down, 3 to go. I didn't want to have Blub sweep the whole team, as I think it's kind of lame. So I swapped in Baby Boo to deal with Pelipper. Pelipper was being super annoying, using Supersonic and Protect to stall its way out of this battle. Which is honestly pretty smart, but really annoying for me. Baby Boo pulled through, and I was able to knock out Pelipper after 2 successful Mirror Coats hit. Next was Skarmory. I swapped Blub back in to deal with this unit. I accidentally swapped in Baby Boo and got hit with Sand Attack. Skarmory went for a Steel Wing, and I went for a counter. I survived and dealt massive damage. I healed up, Baby Boo, and Winona healed up Skarmory. After a really long and drawn out sequence of healing up and countering and healing up and countering constantly, I said screw this and sent in Blub. I put my good old Surf to the test and took out Skarmory with 2 of them. Last was Winona's ace, Altaria. This thing was always a threat to face. Winona must have been a part of the clown season because after trying to dragon dance her way to victory, Altaria fell to 3 strengths and the feather badge was mine. I made a quick pit stop to the move deleter and made Blub forget Rock Smash because Dante can learn it instead. Next up was rival battle number 5. It was time to settle this once and for all with May. She led with her Tropius as I led with my 3-move Blub. The critical hit gods were on my side because she got smacked in the face with a crit and Tropius was down. Next was May's Grovyle. I sent in Baby Boo to do the same strategy as last rival battle. Grovyle used Screech twice to lower my defenses, but then went for special moves instead. Very interesting strategy for sure. History repeated itself because I went for Miracoat as she went for a Leaf Blade and Grovyle was down. Next was Slugma. Yeah, I know, the joke is repetitive, but I don't care. Slugma balls. Last was her Pelipper, and man do I hate this Pokemon in this game. After constantly spamming Protect, because that's the best strategy apparently, Blub took out Pelipper with Strength, and now I can shop while May cries in the corner. I then made my way to Mount Pyre to confront Team Aqua. A couple of generic Pokemon thrown my way, but the team has proven to be quite effective versus both Team Aqua and Team Magma at this point. Regardless, the Team Aqua grunts go down and I acquire the Magma emblem. I decided to go back to Mauville City and acquire the coin case. I made my way to the Hoenn region's favorite gambling spot and spent most of my Pokédollars on getting Thunderbolt, which I taught to VIP. I'll need it for Hoenn and Wallace much later. After making my way through the Magma hideout and defeating all the grunts along the way, it was time for Maxie and his lack of logic, using a blue object to awaken a red guy. Nice. First up was Mightyena. Intimidate kicked in, and I was down an attack stat. 1 Surf was all it took to send Mightyena to the Shadow Realm. Next up was Crobat, and I was dreading this. I sent in Dante because I felt like it was his time. Confuse Ray was the bane of my existence, and Dante ended up fainting versus Crobat. I sent in Blub to put up a fight with Maxie's Crobat, and let me tell you, I hate confusion so much. 100 accuracy, and it's a Crobat? Welcome to Poke Hell. After a back and forth battle, Blub eventually loses the fight against Crobat. I sent in Dante to revenge kill, and that was Crobat finally down. Wow, I really hated that. Next up was Camerupt. I sent in VIP to soften him up a little bit. Camerupt took out VIP and it was time to send in Baby Boo. Maxie stalled a little with Camerupt, but using Baby Boo to cheese the opponent's last Pokemon never fails to put a smile on my face, especially an opponent that uses confusion related moves. Camerupt falls to a Destiny Bond and Dante is our sole survivor. That was actually a rather tough fight. GG Maxie. After getting even richer, I went back to the game center to buy Ice Beam. Ice Beam will also be taught to VIP because he's got some solid coverage, and also Dragon types occur later on. I then made my way all the way to Lily Cove until I realized I had to go to Slayport City first. Here's my reaction. Aw, shit! I then made a grand journey to Slayport and back, and we're finally in the Team Aqua base to foil their plan once more. I made it to the end of the hideout, picked up the Master Ball that will definitely come in handy for this challenge, and faced Admin Matt. Like the other members of Team Aqua, I breezed right through him and once again foiled their plans. Or so I thought. Next up was our famous dynamic duo Tate and Liza at Mossdeep City. This is where you'll see that the run of having limited Pokemon takes its toll on me, slowly. Tate and Liza led with Claydol and Xatu, as I led with Blub and VIP. I went for a Surf as it comes in handy in a double battle, and tried to take out the Claydol first. However, Xatu hits a Psychic to take out VIP, so I went into Dante to deal some damage hopefully. Things were going well until I realized that Confuse Ray was a thing. Now, this is personal. I hate confusion. Blub still pulled through, and a second Surf takes out Claydol and crits Xatu. We're both down 1 Pokemon, so this battle is truly heating up. I know Tate and Liza will heal up Xatu next turn, so I made sure to target it with Dante, and Dante takes out Xatu. Last up in this double battle was Solrock and Lunatone, coming in the same turn. I decided to continue surfing with Blub, as I know it will prove to be very effective on them. As Solrock charged up Solar Beam, Dante took out the Lunatone with Metal Claw. It is now a 3-on-1. Blub of course hurts himself in confusion at the worst time possible, and Solrock takes out Blub with Solar Beam. Dante went for a few more Metal Claws after Tate and Liza healed up Solrock, and it eventually took out Solrock. With this glorious defeat, and Baby Boo remaining unscathed, the Mind Badge is mine. 7 down, 1 to go. I then took on Team Magma with my boy Steven. I decided to leave out Dante for this fight as Baby Boo and VIP needed to level up a little more as they are slightly underleveled at this moment. The tag team match was going rather well, but there was a classic confusion that took place, and we all know how I feel about confusion at this point. The fight was pretty much in our favor the whole time. Steven was a great partner. They even managed to take Blub out, so I swapped into VIP. They also managed to take out VIP, so that left me with Baby Boo. Eventually, Steven took out the final Pokemon, and we once again foiled Team Magma's plan. Then was time for Archie and his lack of logic, using a red object on the blue guy. This fight wasn't so bad, to be very honest. First off was Mightyena. I just decided to spam a couple of dives. He even got a confusion off on me. Classic. But Blub managed to pull through, and the Mightyena was history. Next up was Crobat. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to know he'll try to confuse me. I spammed away with Surf, and eventually took out Crobat. Man, I hate that thing. Next up was Sharpedo. I didn't want to take rough skin damage, so I continued surfing. After a couple of surfs, Sharpedo was down, and that was the fight with Archie. Then, long story short, I went to the Sky Pillar, told Rayquaza that Groudon and Kyogre were fighting, and Rayquaza was off. Then, like a mother yelling at her 2 children to stop fighting and shut their yaps, they stopped, and the weather crisis was averted. It was then time for the final gym leader, good old sexy Hoenn. Keep in mind, this is the point of the game where my levels are quite close to my opponent's levels. Hoenn leads off with the strongest Pokemon in the Hoenn region, Luvdisc, as I lead with Blub. I went for a strength, and Luvdisc wanted Blub to fall in love. Blub ain't having it. He's here to win Can You Beat Pokemon Emerald Without Catching a Single Pokemon challenge. No time for romance. Luvdisc is down, and there's 4 to go. Next was the derpy boy Whiscash. A simple dive followed by a surf was able to take Whiscash out, but he got some damage in with Earthquake. Next was Celio. I decided to swap in VIP to dish out some damage. Teaching Thunderbolt to VIP came in clutch, as it was the perfect move for this given situation. VIP was able to take out the Celio with 2 Thunderbolts. Proud of you, VIP. Next was Crawdaunt. VIP went for Thunderbolt, and he actually missed the Crabhammer. This is huge. A second Thunderbolt takes out the Crawdaunt. Now it's time for Hoenn's ace, the Kingdra, aka the absolute nightmare. This thing is one of the most annoying things to face if you're not prepared. Kingdra loves going for double team, but not only that, it has rest on top of Hoenn's potions. Blub was putting in a great fight, but I realized this isn't going to work out, and he actually froze me with Ice Beam. I decided to take a more tactical approach to this. I sent in VIP first in an attempt to damage Kingdra with Hail and hopefully freeze him. I got what I wished for and actually froze Kingdra. A lot of stalling and healing was taking place with this Pokemon, and I was getting beyond annoyed. I swapped in Baby Boo, and it was time to cheese this fight once more. I spammed Destiny Bond with Kingdra, and eventually he gave in to the temptation to take out the Baby Boo and fainted as a price to pay. And just like that, the Rain Badge is mine, and I can proudly say I defeated all the Hoenn gym leaders. We're on our road to the Pokemon League, finally. It's time for the Victory Road and our final battle with Wally. I'm glad he's come a long way, but he's not winning this fight. First up was Zaltaria. I led with Blub. He was being quite silly and kept setting up with Dragon Dance. 3 strengths later, and Altaria was down after taking a solid aerial ace to the face. Next up was Wally's Roselia. I swapped in VIP because the type coverage it has. I went for Ice Beam as I went for Leech Seed. A couple of Ice Beams later, and Roselia was history. Delcatty was up next. I swapped back into Blub. Extremely uneventful. One surf is all it takes. Magneton appeared and then disappeared as Blub was spamming Mud Slap at him, bringing back the good old John Cena strategy, he couldn't see me. And Magneton fell. Last was Wally's ace, the Gardevoir. Wally's big brain decided to plan an attack that would take place in a few turns from now, using Future Sight of course. I went for 2 strengths, Gardevoir fell, and Wally was defeated. See ya, chump. After the grueling journey, it was finally time for the Pokemon League. My underleveled team of 4 was ready for the bloodshed. Elite 4 time. Everything has been smooth sailing up until now, but it's come to a point where I'm even or underleveled with the whole Pokemon League. Sydney was up with his opener, Mightyena. Blub started us off on this one. With all Mightyena starts, there's always the Intimidate that gives Sydney a small edge against us, especially the physical attackers. A Surf brings Mightyena down to 1 HP as I get smacked with the Sand attack. Sydney healed up Mightyena, and luckily for me, I was able to hit another Surf and Waterfall despite the accuracy drop and took this bad boy out. Next was Cacturn. I decided to swap in VIP because I have access to Ice Beam. After sustaining quite an attack from Feint Attack, VIP went for another Ice Beam and took out the Cacturn. Things are going rather well so far. Then was Shiftry, the evasive maneuver troll. He went for Double Team as expected as VIP went for an Ice Beam. We connected, and we did about a little bit under half. Shiftry went for Torment as VIP went for another Ice Beam and connected once more, bringing Shiftry down to red HP. Next was Swagger, and Confusion made its return. I didn't want any of that, and swapped it to Blub in an attempt to finish off Shiftry. After another Swagger attempt, Blub understood my pain throughout the entire game, and wanted me to not stress about this battle, so he took out Shiftry. Next up was Crawdont. We swapped it to VIP once more, because VIP has access to Thunderbolt. Thunderbolt connects and deals about half HP. Crawdont goes for a Surf and takes out VIP. Don't worry, we're gonna avenge you, buddy. Back into Blub, and went for a Strength, and just barely took out the Crawdont. Last was Absol, the ace. Blub went for a mighty Earthquake to drop Absol to red HP. Absol then healed up with the Citrus Berry, and this actually saved me time because it took Absol out of full restore range. One more Waterfall, Absol fell, and 1 out of 4 Elite 4 members are dealt with. Elite 4 member Phoebe is up next, and these ghost types aren't playing. Phoebe led with her defensive Dusclops, who by the way is one of my favorite Pokemon ever. Throw an Eviolite on this bad boy and you're just choosing violence. I know Dusclops typically goes for Protect first, so I decided to actually heal up VIP. Big brain. Dusclops goes for another Protect as Phoebe is just looking to drain my PP and let me struggle. 1 Waterfall later and Dusclops is dropped to half HP. Conveniently, Dusclops goes for Curse and takes itself out. And that's 1 down, 4 to go. Phoebe swaps it to Bayonet, number 1, as I swap it to VIP to let VIP get in on the action. I set up the Rain in hopes to either do some massive damage with VIP or massive damage with Blub afterwards. Bayonet then chunks me for 30 HP. I proceed to go for a Water Pulse as I get grudged, and continue with Water Pulse until finally I get revenge and confuse an opponent's Pokemon for once. My confusion was a little more impactful as the confusion actually takes out Bayonet number 1. Bayonet number 2 takes out VIP with Psychic. Time to avenge you once more, bud. Unfortunately, the rain stops when Blub comes out, but that won't stop him. 1 Surf brings Bayonet to red HP as Phoebe gets a crit. Phoebe heals and my second Surf connects. 1 Waterfall later and Bayonet number 2 is out. Sableye, the non-double Pokemon of the team, makes its entry. This one was short and sweet. Blub was done playing these childish games, and 1 Earthquake took Sableye out. Last was the attacking Dusclops, aka Dusclops number 2. Blub's Earthquake drops Dusclops to Citrus Berry range and lives the Shadow Ball, and a second Earthquake takes out Dusclops number 2. Wallace and completing this challenge are just around the corner. Next was Glacia and her team of ice Pokemon. She led with Celio number 1 as I led with Blub. She set up Hail as I went for a Strength and Earthquake to finish Celio off. Next was Glalie. I swapped it to Dante, who hasn't been used in quite a while. 2 Ancient Powers, and that was goodbye for Glalie. Next was the scary Walrein. I swapped in VIP and wanted to go for Thunderbolt, but I got sheer colded. I swapped it to Baby Boo and got the Destiny Bond bait started. Luckily, Walrein was foolish enough to fall for it, and it was defeated. Celio number 2 came out, and the combo of Strength and Earthquake was enough to take out the second Celio. Last was Glalie number 2. Same with the Celios, the Strength and Earthquake combo took it out, and that was Glacia defeated. Finally, the last member of the Elite 4, Drake. He led with Shelgon as I led with Blub. Strength and a crit Earthquake quickly dispatches of it. Next was Altaria. I swapped it to VIP. Drake is such a silly lad as he continuously wanted to set up the dragon dances. He underestimated VIP and got taken out by a couple of ice beams. Next was Kingdra. After Hoenn's nightmare, I know things will be better now. I swapped in Blub and a couple of earthquakes was enough to take it out. Next was Flygon. I wanted to soften it up with VIP and Ice Beam, and it was only semi-successful as VIP was defeated by Flygon. I swapped in Blub to finish it off with Surf. Last was Drake's ace, Salamence. I attempted to attack with Blub, but got KO'd instead. I said screw it and swapped it to Baby Boo to cheese this bad boy. And truth be told, it worked. Drake was defeated, and the Elite Four falls to my Elite Four. Finally, it was time. The Hoenn region champion, Wallace. Things aren't going to be easy. Seeing as I only have 4 Pokemon and they are all underleveled, this is truly going to test my might. Like always, Wallace leads with his mighty unit, the Wailord. I lead with Blub for this one. Blub goes for an Earthquake, dealing over half of Wailord's HP, as he goes for a Blizzard and actually misses the Blizzard. Is this a sign? Blub goes for another Earthquake and takes out the Wailord. Great start. Wallace then sends in his Ludicolo. I know this thing is up to no good with Double Team and Leech Seed stupidity. I had to stop this thing ASAP or I'm in for a long battle. Blub went for a few strengths as Ludicolo set up a Double Team and a Leech Seed. Unfortunately, the Leech Seed heal was enough to keep him alive and take out Blub with Giga Drain. I sent in Baby Boo to potentially take out Ludicolo with a Destiny Bond. Silly old me forgot to restore the PP on Destiny Bond, so I had to resort to using Mirror Coat. The RNG gods are in my favor today, as Ludicolo did not set up more double teams and actually opted to take out Baby Boo instead. I lived on 13 HP and took out Ludicolo with Mirror Coat. Then was Tentacruel. Unfortunately, I had to make a harsh decision here and swap in Dante to be fodder for the revival of Blub. His services are met with a Hydro Pump to the face. I then swapped in VIP to hopefully take one attack as I restore Baby Boo's Destiny Bond PP, as I know this may be my win condition. Tentacruel actually went for Toxic and missed. I then swapped in Blub and got poisoned and then proceeded to take a Hydro Pump to the face. Enough was enough, and the mighty Earthquake finally took out the Tentacruel. Next was Whiscash. I didn't know what to make of this thing. I had to restore Blub's HP and cure the poison, as Whiscash went for Amnesia. After a back and forth battle between our respective water ground types and hard hitting moves, Blub came out on top and Whiscash was taken out. Next up was Gyarados, and it was time to swap in VIP. Things got rather scary, but interesting from here on. Gyarados went straight for a Hyper Beam and took VIP out. I could use this to my advantage. I swapped in Baby Boo and used my Big Brain. Gyarados surely wouldn't attack me on the next turn, so I decided to Destiny Bond and then try to heal up and revive the rest of the team. Then I learned the hard way and realized that's not how Destiny Bond works, and he took out Baby Boo. Now it's VIP time once more. He actually missed his Hyper Beam as I went for Thunderbolt and dealt about half HP. Now I know I just have to connect with a Thunderbolt to take him out once again. My heart was telling me to revive Baby Boo as I knew Hyper Beam was coming, and truth be told, it did. I swapped back into Blub and used the recharge turn as an opportunity once more. Blub came in and dropped him to red HP, and I knew Wallace would heal for sure, so I decided to heal as well. I knew Blub could take a few attacks, so he will tank all the hits and hoping to take him out. This battle is truly getting serious, as Blub is desperately trying to take out the Gyarados with strengths and weaken him. Gyarados would low-key set up Dragon Dances in the background, but I knew I had enough healing items to stall him. For the next while, my revival herbs were going to work, as Gyarados was losing PP with every passing turn. I was just scared and I didn't know if I had enough to outlast his attacks. This took quite a bit of time and things were getting real close, but then I realized that Gyarados kept spamming Surf at some point. Now I knew for a fact that he was done with his heavy attacks and is using his last resort attacks. Now is my time for revenge. I got my team to a comfortable enough position where I could safely swap in VIP and go for Thunderbolts. In the end, 2 Thunderbolts were enough to take out Gyarados. One word for that? Damn! Finally, Wallace's last Pokemon, Milotic. I wanted to soften up Milotic a bit with VIP and realized this thing is scary. Then my mind clicked for a second. Wallace is down to his last Pokemon, and I have a few Destiny Bonds left. I swapped in Baby Boo, set my Destiny Bonds up, Wallace fell for the bait, went for Surf, and took Baby Boo out. But not before Baby Boo took one last look at Wallace, and a look at this challenge and said, GG. Wallace was defeated, and I now became the Hoenn region champion. I walked through those doors and registered our 4 superstars on the panel. The challenge is officially over, and I've cemented my legacy in the Hall of Fame. In conclusion, are you able to beat Pokemon Emerald without catching a single Pokemon? The answer is yes. Overall, I'd give this challenge a solid 4.5 out of 10, as most of it was just tedious maneuvering around the Hoenn region without access to fly. The challenge can only be beaten when you choose Mudkip as your starter. The challenge is a lot easier if you overlevel your team, but we don't do things like that. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Until this point, I realize this is my first upload on YouTube in 11 months. If you guys would consider smashing the like button and subscribing, that would be awesome. If you guys have ideas for other challenges, let me know in the comments section below. You guys are awesome. Have a great day. Take care.